Do you know how to read body language? It's something that's been on my radar for quite a while. Anyway, I think it's to be mindfully aware, right, of what signals we're giving off. I mean, if you think about it, they say that non-verbal communication is 80% of the way that we communicate. And then thinking about that deeply, it's like, well, if you're texting someone, that means that 80% of your communication isn't actually happening because they can't see your face, they can't hear the tone of your voice or the way you express. So I think so much mistranslation happens in texting, even voice messaging. So anyway, that's just probably a big reason why we should try and ramp up our connection and our live communication with people, don't you think? If we think about expressions, obviously happiness, confusion, sadness, surprise, anger, and excitement, okay? We can kind of see that on people's faces, and actually it's universal. Like no matter what country, what language, we pretty much share all the same facial expression. So that's universal, and that's pretty cool. But there are a couple of other things to look out for, like gaze, right? So maybe someone's looking at you, and if you notice that their eyes are quite dilated, which means their eyeballs are pretty wide, well, it's not because they're on some kind of drug, maybe they are, but it means that they have desire. How strange is that, right? It indicates desire. Look out for it. Yep, you might be getting lucky. Well, and if someone's blinking their eyes a lot, that could mean that they're in a place of discomfort, emotional discomfort and distress. So rapid blinking to look out for that. Or maybe they've got something in their eye. Then again, looking at lips and mouth, all right? Some people bite their lip when they are stressed and worried. So, that kind of expression. And then a tightening of the lips could also indicate disapproval, distaste, or distrust. Okay? Are you aware of these things? Are you aware that you might be doing these things? Hand gestures, okay, like this could be viva, victory. In many countries, including South Africa, viva, we know this well. But that means something else, like I'm going to hit you, or I'm going to muru, okay? Or this, this is like, it's okay, right? It's great. But in some parts of the world, this is a vulgar sign. Did you know that? I traveled India, and it was really interesting because I learned that you never touch anybody with your left hand, all right? And you never touch anyone on the head, and you don't point your feet at someone because that is a sign of disrespect. Like, wow. I was doing all these things and somebody had to, point it out to me. Really interesting how cultural gestures can differ. And what you think is cool in one country is completely not in another. Then poses, obviously, if we cross our arms and we stand like this could be a defensive sign, okay? Self or closed off. I'm closed off. I'm sort of protecting myself from you. I'm not happy with what I'm hearing. But I don't know, like sometimes people are just cold, right? I don't know. So maybe you need to read that and facial expression and put it all together, okay, for a complete picture. Hands on the hips, okay, like a power pose. I'm in control. We often call it a power pose, and I often use it when I'm standing and doing presentations. But it could also be a sign of aggression, okay? All right. So be aware of the way that we use our arms and our legs. The closed posture, you kind of facing the other way, and when someone's talking to you, you kind of like moved out. That could show hostility, unfriendliness, or even an indication of anxiety. But an open posture, so guys normally sit with their legs a little bit open as opposed to ladies. But a little bit of a straighter back and using our hands indicates friendliness, openness, and a willingness. Like maybe there's good flow going on between you, okay? I know that a lot of these are obvious, but we tend to forget them, and we tend to forget ourselves and the way we sit or stand or use our hands or our faces, etc. Personal distance, 1.5 to 4 feet is like really intimate space. And beyond that is more comfortable with friends, but then a public space is more like 12 to 25 feet. But it also, again, it's quite cultural. So be aware of people's personal space. And you may not want to get too close because it might make them feel uncomfortable, especially if you don't know them that well or they don't want you to get to that close, okay? But I know, like when I traveled in India, again, people's personal space was like literally right here, and it made me feel super uncomfortable. But culturally, it's accepted, okay? Even in many African countries as well. So looking at the rules of non-verbal communication, it really helps us to earn somebody's trust in the way that we move, in the way that we express ourselves, our facial gestures, etc. We use it to emphasize a point, as I'm doing with my hands, okay? To emphasize a point is very, very powerful. And we can use tone of our voice as well to do that. But try not to be too much because you might come across as aggressive. It might reveal many truths about how we are and how we think in the way that we move. And a lot of the time we are just tuning into our own needs. Then, how to improve our non-verbal communication? Pay attention. Pay attention to the way you move, the way you sit, the way you stand. Pay attention to how other people are moving, sitting, standing, their gestures, etc. Be present within yourself. Be aware of your posture. I think that's vitally important. And I'm a mindfulness coach, so I often encourage people to do a body scan, which is just moving your awareness around your body. And that really links your body and mind together, so you're more aware of your posture. A good yoga teacher will always be, or Pilates teacher will always be reminding you of your posture, right? To sit up straight, to be body aware. But a lot of us are not body aware, and that's why we land up with neck pain and back pain in later years, because we're not sitting right. But using non-verbal communication and understanding body language is a major part of emotional intelligence, right? It's self-awareness, self-management. If I'm aware of myself and I don't want to give what I'm feeling away, I'm going to manage myself differently. I'm going to maybe hide my body language or sit in a different way. Or maybe use it to show other people that I am happy and that I'm very aware of my emotions. Being aware of other people's emotions and managing that as well by looking at the way they move, the way they smile, or they're sad, or they're angry, or their facial expressions. All of these things feeds into our emotional intelligence. And as we know, emotional intelligence is the number one predictor of success in life. Okay, food for thought, right? Let's be aware of our bodies. Let's be more aware and move into our bodies. Let's own our bodies, stand in our truth, and use it to our advantage. Good luck with that, friends. Take care.